Cancer starts in our cells. Cells are the tiny building blocks that make up our tissues and organs in our body.
We can think of cells as traffic moving through our cities, or as thousands of people walking through our streets.
Normally, human cells grow and divide to form new cells as the body needs them.
When cells grow old or become damaged, they die and new cells take their place.
Sometimes this goes wrong and the cell becomes abnormal. The abnormal cell keeps dividing and making more and more abnormal cells. As cells become more and more abnormal, old or damaged cells survive when they should die, and new cells form when they are not needed. These extra cells can divide without stopping and may go on to form growths called tumours.
Some types of cancers, such as leukemia, start from blood cells. They don't form solid tumours. Instead, the cancerous cells build up in the blood and sometimes the bone marrow.
There are over 200 different types of cancer. A primary tumour is a name as to where the cancer starts. Sometimes cancer can spread in the body. This is called a secondary tumour or metastasis.
Now we know what cancer is, we begin our journey to tackle it.
There are many options to treat different types of cancer. Each one comes with its own risks and benefits. It's important that you understand these so you can make informed decisions and understand the complications and side effects of treatment.
Different options available could be surgery, they could be chemotherapy, they could be radiotherapy, as well as many, many other clinical trials.
Surgery involves going into your body in an operation to physically remove any cancer that's present.
Say you've got a tumour on your brain and it's accessible from the neurosurgical point of view. If you can remove it in its entirety, there are certain low-grade brain cancers that can be removed in their entirety and successfully treated with surgery alone. So radiotherapy is a kind of beam treatment, external beam therapy.
I always thought it was maybe going to be like laser beams and stuff, but it's not.
Radiotherapy are X-rays that kill cancer cells and they're targeted to the area that the cancer is at.
So chemotherapy is a type of medication that targets cells that turn over very, very quickly, such as cancer.
My one was 6 months, could have 24/7. There's different types of chemotherapy for different types of cancers.
When you hear of it, you just think, oh, chemotherapy is one thing. But I'd imagine there's hundreds. I think I was treated with 4 or 5, maybe 6 different types. Mine came in sort of bags and that was liquid chemotherapy. But you can also get it in tablet form.
Immunotherapy is a type of treatment that harnesses your immune system to fight the cancer itself.
It's not a mainstay of treatment at the moment, but in theory, because the immune system is so important in regulating how cells behave, divide and die, it has potential.
Muscle weakness, paralysis, nausea, muscle pain.
You can get mouth sores, you can get ulcers, you can have problems with your heart, and you just fatigue, everything under the sun.
I think the side effects are determined by what sort of chemotherapy you have. Each one will have a different list of side effects, and also you might not have those side effects.
You know, I thought I'd never be through it, but you do, you get through it. You're not going to change you as a person. You're still the person you were before treatment, and you'll be that person again.
The day I was diagnosed with cancer, I'd been with friends and I woke up and had a blood clot in my arm. So I went to the GP and the GP said that he thought I had a blood clot. And I asked him, well, why do you think this is? I'm quite fit, healthy, I run, do exercise, things like that. And he said he wasn't sure, but he wanted more investigations, so he sent me up to A&E. The next day, a doctor came in and said that my X-ray showed that my lymph glands under my armpits were really swollen, and then she told me that she thought I had lymphoma.
I was only diagnosed with stage 1 melanoma, which meant I had a 90% plus chance of never having to deal with cancer again. As I was only a stage 1 patient, it never occurred to me that anything would change all that much in the future, and that's what I was telling my parents, my family, so that's what they were seeing through my journey.
The day that I was diagnosed, I think, was sort of near the end of July. I went to the doctor a few times before that and been coughing up blood. Didn't think anything of it at first, and then it progressively got worse to the point that I was just coughing pure blood and couldn't stop coughing. So they admitted me to hospital, and it was when I was in hospital they came back then and said that I don't think they specifically said I had cancer, they just said I had a tumour.
It wasn't until my diagnosis changed to stage 3, when it spread to a lymph node in my neck, that things began to get a bit more serious.
I didn't really know what to think. All I thought was, am I going to die from this? I don't really know anyone else with cancer.
I think it's a bit cliche, but I suppose you appreciate things more, and you maybe take a different view of the world.
Then my sister came and went with me, and she's a doctor, and she reassured me and said that you can beat this, this is not the end.
It's hard to live not knowing whether it's going to come back, whether it's going to get worse if it does come back.
And I just tried to tackle it one day at a time and get through treatment itself and think that this was going to make me better, so this was what I had to do.
I've become a lot more open with my mum and dad about cancer and just general mental health issues.
I just tried to be as open as possible because I thought it would help to tell them everything I was feeling rather than bottle it up.
I don't know how anyone would have been able to cope on their own with the various side effects. You can't really cook and things like that due to losing your sensation of things.
Initially it was quite daunting having all these doctors and nurses around, but you again quickly learn that they're there to support you and help you in any way they can.
She knew that I would be sitting there worrying all the time, so she knew that if I just made a quick phone call to say it's looking positive, I'll give you more details when we come in, it kind of really assured me so that I could not just sit and worry about that all the time and get on with kind of day-to-day stuff.
I want to do all the appointments mostly by myself because I want to feel like I'm the one in control of the appointments and in control of the information and what to tell my mum, and I feel like there's some information that she doesn't necessarily need to know right now at this stage.
They were aware that I wanted my family to be involved as much as possible, so they'd always talk to me first, but they'd say, does your mum want to come in for the appointment, or would you rather they stay outside? And depending on what it was about, most of the time I wanted them there, but there was some times that I just wanted to be on my own, or I wanted to be like me and my boyfriend.
Yeah, I kept in touch with my friends, just sort of by texting and phoning, because this was back when I had just an old Nokia phone that didn't have any internet, so there's no Facebook or that from the hospital.
When it came to my boyfriend, he was away on holiday, so I didn't really want to tell him, so I got my sister to do it. It was difficult to do that because I wasn't able to see him, so he wasn't able to see that I was perfectly fine, but I obviously had cancer, but I didn't look any different and I didn't act any different. So after my sister told him, I talked to him on the phone and said that I'm just the same, it's just we've got to treat this and I'm the same person. The main thing that I did during treatment was to keep active as possible, so I like to make sure that if I was feeling up for it when I was back at home, that I'd go on a walk. So my dad tried to get me at the house, even when it was pouring with rain, just to go for a really short walk, because I felt like at least I'd done something that day, so at least I'd did a little bit of activity.
I decided after my surgeries didn't work that I would apply for university and go back to university, because I felt I needed something to do other than just either working through a job I didn't particularly like or sitting at home moping around. Being at university has allowed me to meet new friends and just be more of a social person. I never used to go out or anything.
It was definitely family and friends that got me through treatment. They just were really good. They supported me through the whole thing. They knew what to say and when to say it.